Hey everyone, this is Stephanie at Hightower Stitching. Today I've got a treat for you. I have another way to quilt your quilt, and we're going to do that by talking to my sister-in-law Molly, who you've seen on several videos because we sort of do a cooperative sometimes. She makes the top and then I quilt it. Good morning, Molly.
Good morning, Stephanie.
How long you been quilting, Molly?
Since about 1986 was the first time. It was my son's quilt. My neighbor next door was a quilter. When she retired, I got over there in the afternoons and started quilting with her, and that's where I acquired my love for quilting.
Oh, neat.
At that time, she said the only way to quilt was all by hand. And at that time, it probably was. The machine quilts were probably just coming into the way to do a quilt. But at that time, everybody I knew was hand quilting. In fact, today, these were some squares that she had put together. And she passed away about 14 years ago now, I think. And I've had these in a closet, and I says, I'm going to take them out and I'm going to make a quilt. And so I put them together and put it, and this is a Mamie Belle and Molly quilt.
Oh, that is so neat. Well, what I wanted to ask you too today was to talk about the frame that you use for quilting. You told me it's called a Z frame.
This one is called a Z frame. The first frame I ever used was it was 4 legs and it just rolled, and so it rolled. It was almost like this, except for this. I have this tilted up because it is a Z frame and you can pull it up. But the first time I ever quilted was one that laid flat and it rolled, and it's the same idea, except this is just a little more modern. And you can see on the end of it, it makes a Z. Kind of on here.
Yeah.
And so, but it's all run on, I have the little cogs, the cogs are right here, that you adjust so that you don't get it too tight, and it's not too loose either. And your back goes on a bar, and then your batting and your top goes on another bar. So if it does need to be adjusted a little bit while you're working on it, you can.
Yeah, there are the cogs. She's got a cog for each one. And then as you go through the quilt, there's a bar that's close to the quilter.
Right. And I have just started this one, and I quilt up to about right here. And then when I get my little quilting on the sides finished up, then I will go down here and I will unlock my top 2 cogs and then roll it.
And you know that when I quilt, I use a round frame that stands on the floor also. But I sew with my left hand because I never could learn to rock and roll with the other method. Well, Molly is going to be our expert on that. And here she goes. She's going to tell you what she does.
Okay, so I am a strange quilter because most people use thimbles. I use a thimble, but it's a leather one that I have to go get remade every once in a while. And I do what Stephanie calls rock and roll. There you can see where it's already gone through, and I'll show you how I do this.
She's using her right hand on the top.
I'm right-handed. Stephanie's left-handed.
And her left on the bottom.
And then I just go stitches a little bit too long, but
it's anyway. All right. That's two pretty stitches.
Mamie Belle and I used to have contests on who could stitch the tiniest.
And what's your bottom hand doing when you?
It's underneath here pushing up, and then I know when my needle goes through because it will kind of prick my finger a little bit.
Just a little bit. Yeah. And then it pushes it up.
Yeah.
And how do you usually get about 2 stitches on a needle?
2 to 3 stitches is probably what I do, yes.
Are you using quilting thread?
Yes, I am. I am using a quilting thread, and it does have a polyester in it too. And I tell you, I love it because I use the number 10 needles, which are very, very tiny needles.
Yeah.
And the polyester thread kind of has a coating to it. And so it goes straight into the eye of the needle a lot better.
That is great. And so now I've turned to another angle, and we'll see. We have there went the knot.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have to be careful because if you pull on it, then that knot's going to get tight. Then you're in trouble. So, but anyway,
Down,
so I try.
rocking. There she's got it, rocking. Oh, she's going for, did you go three
I did
stitches
3
that time?
Yeah.
And you're using, what kind of batting are you using? That looks like Warm and Natural or something. Okay, she's using Warm and Natural.
And it's a crib size because this is going to be more of a wall hanging.
And this is about the smallest blanket you could put on the Z-frame. Is that right?
I think so.
What do you think is the largest one for this one frame?
You can put a queen king on there.
On this frame?
The only problem I see is that with these aluminum, the rods are aluminum, and they tend to sag then.
They'll do a little bit.
I just don't like to do really large ones on it when I do it. In fact, I'm really happy. This really brought back a lot of memories, quilting this way. I have not done this in a while because during COVID, Stephanie kind of got me hooked on doing some machine quilting, and so
took a detour.
I did a detour.
Plus, she made a lot of masks.
Yes, I did. I made about 500 masks during COVID. So, and I have a couple of quilts that I've called my COVID quilts.
Neat.
Because I made them then.
And so there you have a demonstration of one way to do it, and the bottom hand is in the bottom and pushes up when the needle comes through. This is Stephanie at Hightower Stitching. I hope you enjoyed this and enjoyed my sister-in-law and her great frame and her demonstration of another way to quilt. If you enjoyed this, had fun, please hit subscribe and like, and leave comments or ask questions because it always helps others. Thank you.